Ooby-doo, it's everyone's favorite boomer and vintage lens enthusiast. This is another in a series of the Nikon Coolpix 880, which is this 3.34 megapixel camera, which I had in 2003. And I went to Liberty Science Center, which is by Jersey City on the Hudson River there. And they have exhibits and they change. And when I went there, they had this ship. This is the USS Constitution. It was a scale model, but it was inside a plastic box, so kids couldn't just grab it and bust the wires and everything. So I don't know if they had two of them. They had one without sails or they had one with sails. So I took some pictures and I used a flash. It was all indoors and it was pretty dark, so I used a flash in almost everything. And if it was behind glass, then you might see specular reflections from dust or whatever may have you. I went with my friend and we hung out, we walked around. And one of the main reasons we went there is because they had Sue, the T-Rex was there. And of course, we went in and we wanted to look at everything else too. Like you walk through these corridors and this stuff is just there and you happen to look at it. And I thought that was pretty interesting because it was a very detailed model. Very detailed model. I don't think it's there anymore. I went there again afterwards, and the exhibits change all the time. Some are there long term, some are there short term. Some of the exhibits travel around the country. Of course, this was in August, and maybe it was something to do with the USS Constitution. Maybe it was some centennial or a renovation or something. But that wasn't the main reason I went there. I went there to go see the T-Rex Sue. And here's a shot down the Sue's open maw. And I was still a newbie to digital photography then, and I didn't understand a lot of stuff. And but you know, this is a big giant skeleton, and you could stand like 5 feet away from it. And I took a whole bunch of pictures, and you can see I got flash shadows because they just hung up a curtain, and the curtain had all specks on it. There wasn't dirt on my sensor. It was that this curtain had some sort of texture in it. Now, Sue, how do you do? My name is Sue. But Sue, this wasn't the real skeleton. That's somewhere else. These are all castings. So they got the bones, they made the castings, and then they assembled the skeleton. So they could have made as many castings as they want, and they could have had a Sioux exhibition simultaneously all over the country if they wanted to. Now, I don't know if that's what they did, but they could have. So, you know, you get a close-ups of all the different bones, and apparently the jaw was expandable. It wasn't like fixed in the front, and it could open up depending how big a piece of meat they ate. And it looks like the bones in the neck were expandable, so this animal could swallow bigger or smaller chunks of food when it was like ripping into some other animal. Yummy, yummy. So here's a casting that they stuck on a plaque. They said, oh, you could touch it. But since the whole this whole exhibit was castings. Why don't they let you touch Sue? Of course, some kid would knock it over. Say, here's kids, and they had a railing. And you could jump over the railing and touch the animal, but nobody did when I was there. And it was pretty darkly lit, as you can see. Although they had a big skylight, but they had these spotlights, and there was a spattering of crowd. There was a very small crowd. I think we went during the week, during the summer, with my friend. I was off from work that day or something, and we just hung out. And this gives you a perfect human scale of how big this monster was. You would not want to meet this thing on a pleasant sunny afternoon or in the middle of the night either. Now remember, this is all the same animals. This is from different directions. You know, I was close, further away, like that. And the exposure changed. I noticed that the camera was picking all different ISO speeds. You see, I think their lower jaw is like that. It's not connected. So maybe they had some sort of muscles there that, you know, allowed the jaw to open and close depending on how big or small the thing is they're biting. I thought it was amazing. He's got almost all his teeth. He's got more teeth than I got. And they say T-Rexes only live 25 years But you got to remember that back in the day, the days were a lot shorter too. Like instead of 365 days, maybe they had 420 days per year, because the Earth is slowing down and all that good stuff. So I thought it was pretty cool. I live in New Jersey, and Liberty State Science Center is in New Jersey. But if I wanted to go see dinosaur bones, I'd either have to go to New York City at a museum of natural history, or I have to drive down to Princeton, and they have some sort of dinosaur exhibit down there. And that's far drive, and New York City is problematic these days. So, these pictures, you can't get these pictures, not at the Liberty Science Center anymore. This exhibit's been long gone, and I don't know where this particular model of Sue is. Now, you stand there, you look at the pictures, take some pictures, and then you're satisfied with Sue the T-Rex. And they had live lizards there in tanks and terrariums. Some of them were aquatic, and some of them were on dry land. And they were pretty sedate, and you could zoom up on them and take close-ups of their appendages and whatnot. Or, they were nice enough to pose for you, which I thought was pretty cool, these lizards. And as one price paid for everything. I forget, it was very reasonable. It's $10 or something, but that was in 2003. I'm sure it's a lot more now. I'd imagine if you want to take a family, you, your wife, and 2 or 3 kids, probably cost you $1 Brazilian. Now they had some sort of movie theater there, that special widescreen format, but I don't know if they got rid of that or not. I think these were poison arrow frogs. This is a gecko. He was hanging upside down on something. They have weird suction cups on their feet or something. So I thought it was pretty cool, the whole thing. There's another frog. I was so lucky that it wasn't crowded. Sometimes you go there, there's the bratty kids running all over, screaming and being stupid and everything. But lucky, you get there early when it first opens up, and it's not too bad. Then you could chill around, study the exhibits, take pictures if you're into taking pictures, and then you scoot. And it's right across from New York City, so you could go out and look at the skyline too, if you're so inclined to do that. So it was an interesting camera in its day. Remember, 2003, 3.3 megapixel. That was sort of a breaking technology. That was the best there was that a person could afford. You know what I'm saying? I see, there's one of his feet. What happened to his foot? That's why I took a picture of his foot. But you can see how weird his feet are. And they could hang upside down on things. And they had a whole bunch of different lizards there. I had another camera with me. I took some pictures with the other camera of different stuff. But it was pretty cool. Now, some months later, I have a old house with sort of old-fashioned windows, and I get a lot of frost on my windows. And I use the same camera to take pictures of frost. And it's really good for close-ups. The macro mode was really excellent. So, and this is all ephemeral. Now, frost, you get frost, it changes from hour to hour or day to day. So, but this is particularly interesting frost. That's why I took some pictures. So, like I always say, if you can find one at a garage sale or a flea market for $5 or $10, yeah, pick one up and play with it. You'd be surprised. It's small, it's lightweight, it takes decent pictures for what it is.